Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the live webinar, Mastering Contractor Selection in a Complex H&S Landscape. Before we get started here, I just wanted to extend a big thank you to Alchemist Safe Contractor for sponsoring this webinar. I'm Alex Shuretsky, Digital Media Coordinator for Annex Business Media and OHS, as well as your moderator for this session. Before I pass it over to your speakers this morning, I'd like to take a moment to just go over a few housekeeping items. Firstly, this webinar is being recorded, so for any reason you have to leave early or you miss part of the presentation, a link to the recording will be emailed to all registrants shortly. Secondly, the audience is in listen-only mode, so cameras and microphones will be turned off for you. However, the chat and Q&A function are open. Now I'd like to introduce your first speaker for today, Robin Asher. With over 30 years of expertise in health and safety and holding the designation of Canadian Registered Safety Professional, Robin serves as the Technical Standards Manager at Alchemist North America. Next, I'd like to introduce Valentine Stack, a seasoned product manager based in Montreal with a decade of experience across large corporations, SMEs, and startups. Currently, she leads product management at Alchemist Safe Contractor in North America. Without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Robin for her presentation today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Just before we get started, what we're going to do is do a little poll. So we'll have a poll up, and if everybody wants to just chime in onto a selection, that'd be great. All right, great. Well, thank you very much for doing the poll for us. That's awesome. So let's jump right in. So what we're here today for is we're going to talk about contractor selection. Now, I know everybody has some form of challenge with that. So let's get into what hopefully we can help you with some of those solutions. So one of the things that we find out is people want to make sure that their contractors are right for the job. So what does that mean for you? Well, every organization, it's going to mean something different. Every organization has a different set of complex scenarios that they may be facing. Do they need to have trade qualified? Do they have to have relevant training, right? Do they have to have a union? Are they supposed to be in a union? Updated insurance, past performance, health and safety compliance. Those are some of the things that people are looking for when they're looking for a contractor. The important thing about that is how do you do that? So you got all of these different items that you need or have on your list that you want, but really, how do you do that? So let's look at different scenarios here. What are your internal processes? So you as an organization will have your own unique internal processes. Do you have multi-locations? Do you have certain internal policies that you have to follow? Do you have good interdepartmental communication? Are you aligned with all the different departments? What are the roles and responsibilities of those different departments and those different people within those departments? So what kind of organizational structures do you have? Who's responsible? Who's involved? And who should be involved? So do you have to span multiple provinces? Do you have contractors that you have to hire that go from province to province? So you might be on a border or close to a border of a province, and you might have to send or hire contractors from one province to go across to another province. Well, are they compliant to do that? So those are some of the sort of the things that you're looking at internally to make those choices with contractors. Also, regulations. Are you a national regulated organization, such as a port or a railway or something like that, an airport? Do you need to have contractors that are pulled from a province that also will follow those national regulations? Do you have certain internal policies that have to be met? Now, how do you match that? How do you get contractors to understand your internal policies, but also follow those internal policies? Okay. All of this stuff kind of leads to the same thing. Do they need to be trade qualified? Do they need an interprovincial trade? How do you track that? Right? Do they have to be in a union? How do you make sure that they're union qualified? Do they have task specific requirements, such as do they need to be able to work in confined space? Are they compliant for that? Do they need to work at heights? Do they need to have hot work permits? All those different things are all related to how you select a contractor and what you're looking for. These are all really, there's a lot of information that has to be collected for you to do your due diligence. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, you need some sort of centralized location for all this. So you need the resources to do this, right? Now, if you're looking at past performance, how do you evaluate your contractors based on past performance? How do you know what they did for you before? Have they worked for you before? So these are all the things. Now, one of the things we've come across in a challenge with our clients is also the legacy information. So there's all kinds of people have all kinds of information either in their head, on their own computer, in their own filing system. So how do you sort of get all that knowledge together as well? So these are all really challenging things for clients when they're hiring a contractor, and they're also things that can be solved um, in a few really easy steps. Really centralizing. Really, that's really what we're talking about. We're centralizing data. So what we want to do is we want to have a place and the resources to centralize all of that data into one place. How do we do that? Well, there's software tools out there, but the software tools only get you so far. So what you're looking at then is, even if you collect all this information, is the information correct? Is it the right information? Does it actually reduce your risk? And is it visible across all of your organization or to all of the people in your organization that need to see that information? Okay, so you want to look at that kind of thing. The other thing you want to understand is, who's going to vet out all this information? Like, who's going to look at this in your organization and say, yes, this contractor has met all my parameters. It is compliant by legislation. It has the trade qualifications. It's trained to work in certain tasks. It's competent to work with in certain areas. It's it's compliant to work in certain provinces or multi-provinces. So if you have all this information centralized, then you're pretty much easy eyes on. You have that information at your fingertips. And also it's vetted by health and safety professionals that we have on staff that can actually do that. So do you have that resource to be able to do that? Some companies don't have that resource. Some companies have a team of health and safety professionals. But should those health and safety professionals be sitting at a desk vetting out contractors' documents? Wouldn't it be easier if somebody else did that for you and it was then visible to you? Um, Again, when you're looking at this information, we're also looking at the quality of the information. So centralize this information, the quality of this information, and the visibility across your entire organization so that when you have those alignment communications, everybody's looking at the same data at the same time, live data, and it's there for you. So how things work in the real world. So a real world example, if you're going to really vet out a contractor, what would that look like? Well, you can track, we can track certain things like a risk profile. So what that risk profile does is it allows us to collect the information on how many employees the contractor has, where the contractor works, what kind of services they offer, and from those services, what kind of work activities or risks do they have? So in this example on this side, we're looking at a contractor that is going to be working with air conditioning. They're going to work in Quebec, and they need to be able to work from a ladder or work from aerial platform. They need to be able to do hot work, isolation procedures, and they need to be licensed. So when you collect all that information, who's going to look at it? Again, health and safety professionals look at this information, make sure it's accurate, and then store it in a system where it's available to you. Those are very important things. And again, we're talking about visibility. We're talking about mitigating risk. We're talking about centralization, and alignment and communication across your whole organization. These are really, really important things when you're looking at a small piece of contractor management. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to Valentine, and she's going to go over a little bit of a demo on what it looks like to have that centralized information. For our company, we connect clients with contractors. We do all the pre-qualification and safe contractor, and our contractors are all vetted by health and safety professionals. So what I'll do is Valentine's going to give you a little demo on what that looks like. Go ahead. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Robin. So what you see here is the contractor's view. So just as Robin was actually saying, we are going, so the contractors who enter our system have to go through a little contractor profile. This contractor profile will trigger the questionnaire, the right questions linked to the province the company operates in, the different services and activities, and the company size. So we are making sure that all the questions that we ask are very specific to this contractor profile. So for instance, I am a contractor, I'm entering the system, and I'm going to answer some questions. So let's say my company operates in Ontario and Quebec, and I am an electrician. So I'm going to find the services. So let's say I am an electrical contractor. This will trigger different activities that I can select or deselect. Do I work at height, working from aerial platforms? Do I work from ladders, isolation? Do I do hot work? Do I work with radiation? Do I work with explosives? Do I work in or near water, etc.? So all of this information will trigger, if I submit information, this will trigger um, the dynamic questionnaire I'm going to answer. So we'll not go through the whole questionnaire because obviously it takes a while, but I just wanted to show you this contractor profile that is very specific. So now, as a hiring corporation, what do I see and what do I want to see? Obviously, this solution helps you to have visibility over your whole supply chain. It gives you control, and it makes sure that all the information are gathered at the same place on contractor management. It helps you track the different performances on your contractors. So you can follow all the qualifications of your contractors coming on site or who are in the process of qualifying to come on site. You can specifically track the training of a specific employee of your contractor. So all of this is gathered in this platform, because obviously what you want to make sure is that everybody who comes on site is safe, has the right training, is compliant, and is responsible. Also, what you want to make sure is the different documents. I saw the poll survey. The main answer was I cannot track if the relevant documents. So obviously, this is something that we offer as well. So when you enter the system, you have your dashboard gathering all the information that you want to see in the blink of an eye. But for instance, let's say I want to see the different contractors that I have, and I want to be able to select a specific contractor. So let's say I have a job to do, for instance, in Quebec. I need an electrician, and I want this contractor to already be qualified in health and safety. So I'm going to go through my list. Here I have a list of a lot of contractors. So let's say I want to filter and I want to find. So I said electrician. So I'm going to check here, electrical contractor, is it this one? Up, let's say, I want to see that he's in Quebec. I want to find someone in Quebec, sorry. And I want this contractor to be already health and safety. This is what we call silver. Okay, so I find this contractor and I can check his profile. I have all the information. I have the different statuses that I need. I know his address. And here I can check. I see that critical documents, for instance, he did not upload their documents. So I can track that. I see that he works in different regions, and I can track the different WCBs, and I have all the information here. So the services, the activities we were just mentioning about, I have all the information here on this tab. Here you have all the tabs you can track for this specific contractor's company. So you can check the assessment. Here you have the average performance evaluation. So you see that this one has a 87% performance average, that because you can evaluate all your contractors after every job. So if you have this contractor coming on site maybe twice a year, you can have an evaluation and you see the average, which makes you obviously more aware and of what type of contractor you want to select. You can obviously compare the different rates. So if I go here, for instance, and I show you very quickly. So here you will have the list of your contractors with the global average, the different assessments. So you can see, okay, so maybe this one, this contractor has the highest rate, so this interests me, or this one, USA Electrical Company, for instance. So if I come back and I think I selected safety experts. Okay, so safety experts is interesting for me. I can also see all the questions they actually answered. Here I can see all the documents that they upload in the system. So certificate of insurance, I can track the WCB, I can track any additional actually documents that they uploaded. But here is all the information I can find. You can also see here the different partnerships. So do they hire other contractors on my site? You can track this here, the different worked hours, how many hours they worked on your site, on what work category. And here you will have, let's say, kind of the conclusion on the profile. So the assessment, you can download here a certificate, gathering all the information. So this is something that you can print. Sorry. So certificate of approval, and here you have all the information that you need for this specific contractor coming into your site. So this is just a quick look over our platform. Obviously, you have so many different options. This is customizable. This is something that can be personalized, but this is a very short overview of what you can have and how you can select different contractors in this network specific to a specific job that you want to do on site. That was it for me. So maybe I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Now let's dive into some questions from the audience here. The first one that I'm seeing is somebody's asking about the cost of the system. I don't know.
Yeah, so obviously the cost for the system depends on several, let's say, options, depending on the number of modules, depending on the size of the company. So this is something that we can take offline with our sales team to give you more information, Joe.
Perfect. Awesome. Got another one here. They're asking, what do you mean by dynamic questionnaire?
Robin, do you want
So-
to answer that one or?
Yeah, just didn't get my unmute button clicked fast enough.
Okay.
No. Yeah, so dynamic questionnaire. So no two contractors are created equal in the sense that all contractors have are basically do a specific service, they have specific skill sets, they're in specific locations. And legislation dictates that small companies are treated different in legislation than large companies. And the province legislation is different, can be different in each province. So our system takes all that into effect. And then the contractors are only asked and vetted based on who they are and the services and the uniqueness of them based on the legislation that affects them only. So they're not answering a big, huge, long questionnaire on everything under the sun and half questions aren't relevant to them, or they can't answer them because they're not relevant. We really pinpoint the contractors to make sure that the contractors are being fairly vetted on who they are as an organization, based on the legislation. So that's what we mean by dynamic. It kind of allows a customized questionnaire for every contractor.
Perfect, thank you. Got another one here about the questionnaire. It says, how does the contractor gain access to submitting their questionnaire? Can anyone submit, or are they given specific access to our own site with some form of verification?
Yeah. So the contractor is invited to qualify by the hiring client, and they go through a qualification process, which is they submit the file with all the questions. Then we have our health and safety team of experts making sure that all the questions are verified and that the contractor is compliant. And only when the contractor is qualified, you have the visibility over their file, and they can come on site. If that makes sense, if I understood well the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Got another one here. It says, do you offer demos for companies to test your system prior to determining if they want to commit? And would companies be locked into a term?
Yes, so of course we offer demo. We can send you the specific link to book a demo with our team. So usually we have no, it actually depends on the term of the contract. But contractors entering our platform are qualified. When they are qualified, they're qualified for 1 year. And they have to renew every year to make sure that they stay compliant in our system and to come to you on site. And in general, for clients, it's a 3-year contract. But again, it's variable as well.
Okay, awesome. I'm just gonna take a look here, see if there's any other questions we haven't answered. I got one last one here, and it's how do you validate the information provided by contractors?
So we have a team of health and safety professionals that actually validate the information. So when the contractor submits their responses to the question and the sample documents that they must provide with the questions, then all those documents and responses are vetted and reviewed by a health and safety professional on our side.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for the webinar today. I just wanted to once again extend a big thank you to Alchemist Safe Contractor for sponsoring this webinar today. Also, just wanted to thank Robin and Valentine again for their presentation and their time today. Finally, just wanted to extend a big thank you to the audience for your questions and participation. Watch your inboxes for a link to the recording and any resources from today's session. Thanks, everyone. I hope you all have a great and safe day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.